How far would you walk for clean water? How do you fix a global economic crisis? How does global health build global business? How long until science fiction becomes science fact? How will you change the world? Now is not the time for a traditional MBA. Now is the time for the Johns Hopkins Global MBA.
When I arrived at Johns Hopkins 3 years ago, I knew certain things. I knew that there was one way of approaching every problem. I knew that if you only did the right planning, nothing could go wrong. And I knew for certain that I was going to law school. My name is Luke Kelly Klein. In May, I'll be graduating with a degree in political science. During my time at Johns Hopkins, I've learned there's more than one way to solve a problem. If something can go wrong, it very often will. And after graduation, I won't be going to law school. The things I thought I knew when I arrived are not what I know now. I plan to pursue a career as an entrepreneur. I've had the opportunity to work with faculty from the Carey Business School, and in the process, I've seen how exciting it could be to find practical solutions to everyday problems, to start from nothing and create something, to discover a hole in the market that only your idea can fill. I've learned how business can change the world for the better. Along the way, I've seen the faculty at the Carey Business School is committed to teaching business with humanity in mind. During my junior year, I began Save the Future, a program that teaches personal money management skills to inner-city Baltimore high schoolers. I'd observed that students anywhere from all backgrounds are fascinated with money. The trouble is, most of them know next to nothing about it. My thought was simple. Why not make use of this great curiosity and innate fascination with money to teach students in challenging learning environments skills that will be truly useful in their lives? I asked Carey School professors Ken Yuk and Kwang Soo Chung for help in crafting and teaching the program's curriculum. And not only did they agree to help, but every Wednesday they traveled round trip from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore in rush hour traffic, simply because they believed in the idea. Save the Future is a 12-week after-school course that starts with basic skills like opening a checking account and knowing the difference between credit and debit cards, and then builds up to more advanced investment concepts like understanding the stock market. We started with 20 students at the Academy for College and Career Exploration, one of the city's innovation high schools. Our program built on the premise that money and finances were rational, could be planned and controlled. Began on September 10th of 2008, just 6 days before the failure of large American financial institutions led to a global economic crisis. We changed our curriculum a bit for obvious reasons. This is when I learned that no matter how well you plan things, they can and probably will go wrong. But that too has been part of the learning experience. Johns Hopkins taught me how to think, how to quantify and analyze, and how to take into account all sides of an issue. But most of all, it awakened me to the excitement of new challenges, the thrill of figuring out something that no one else has figured out before. These experiences have defined my time at Johns Hopkins. They capture what the university does best, showing us how to think without constraints, daring us to explore, and then setting us loose to change the world using what we've discovered in the process. This is the Hopkins heritage, and this is how the Carey Business School is going to help redraw the map of global entrepreneurship. The Carey Business School is for students who ask why. It's for the students who always go forward, even when they've heard the word no, because they have every confidence in finding new answers, or better yet, in posing new questions that have never been asked. at a university dedicated to discovery, and a school built on the premise of finding new possibilities in a world of change, what could be more exciting than that? Thank you.
Thank you, Luke, for sharing your experiences and insights about what it means to be a Johns Hopkins student. I'm Dr. Lloyd Minor, and in August, I was named the 13th Provost of Johns Hopkins University. This evening, I bring greetings on behalf of Johns Hopkins President Ron Daniels, who underwent surgery last week, and I'm happy to report is making a speedy recovery. He asked me to express his great disappointment at not being able to be here this evening. President Daniels was very closely involved with the development of this exciting new program and was looking forward to being a part of this evening's celebration. He also asked me to pass along his best wishes and congratulations to all of you. I've been a member of the Johns Hopkins faculty since 1993, and most recently was the director of the Department of Otolaryngology, Head and Neck Surgery in the University's School of Medicine. In my years as a member of the faculty, I have so often been made aware of the tremendous scope and scale of the Johns Hopkins Health enterprise, not just in the School of Medicine, but in nursing and in public health, in biomedical engineering, and at the Mind-Brain Institute, and in so many other disciplines. Johns Hopkins is known and respected the world over for the diversity, complexity, and quality of its research and educational activities, for its outstanding patient care, and for the pioneering work it has done in advancing the health of entire populations. This is an unparalleled resource, and I'm particularly impressed by how the Carey Business School plans to leverage this talent and tremendous opportunity on behalf of its students. Over 133 years ago, a fresh breeze blew out of Baltimore. It carried new ideas about what universities should teach, what students should learn, and the ways in which faculty should discover and disseminate new knowledge. It was the wind of change sweeping across America and around the world. Henceforth, universities would take for their subject matter not the narrow confines of standard academic discourse, but the pains, the possibilities, and the progress of the whole wide world. Through the very nature of this bold new line of inquiry, Johns Hopkins became the first truly global university, and the Johns Hopkins Global MBA is the latest milestone in this remarkable tradition. Such innovation can only come about through extraordinary circumstances, and in this case, it is because of a remarkable and far-seeing gift from our emeritus trustee, Bill Carey. Johns Hopkins has been fortunate in having the support of many generous and visionary leaders over the years. But even so, the Carey name is special in our history. From the very start, one member or another of the Carey family has helped lead, guide, and support our efforts, and the wisdom of their counsel over the decades is inextricably woven into the fabric of our history. Winston Churchill famously said, "We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give." Over the centuries, the Carey family has made a great life for the people of Baltimore and Maryland and for the students of Johns Hopkins. Bill Carey has continued this great family tradition, both in his philanthropic leadership and in the management of his company, which has, by design, done well by doing good. It is a remarkable story, and I invite you to watch this brief film that says so much about a truly remarkable individual.
Would you like to hear a story about American farmers with a happy ending for a change? This story involves a wealthy New York businessman, William Polk Carey.
When Bill was a very young man, he was sent out to Sugar City, Colorado, to oversee the dissolution of a company that was formerly owned by our grandfather. and gone bankrupt. Bill found out farmers had worked for a full year to grow the sugar beets for the company and then weren't paid. And he felt very badly about it, but there was nothing that he could do about it. But he never forgot.
For years.
Last summer, after 19 years of anguish, Bill Carey decided he had enough money, made through his real estate investment company, to pay back the farmers of Sugar City.
And he paid every nickel back to those people.
I couldn't help thinking how much my husband would have, how pleased he would have been being paid finally.
Bill Carey didn't save the farmers of Sugar City. All he saved was their faith that there are still some good people in the world.
What a wonderful story. Unfortunately, Bill Carey was unable to be here with us this evening, but at this time, I would like to acknowledge Bill's brother, Frank Carey, president of the W.P. Carey Foundation. Frank, would you please stand as we express our gratitude for Bill's magnificent gift to Johns Hopkins? Thank you. When Bill announced his exceptional gift, enabling us to create a school of business, we were immediately faced with one very great challenge. Where would we find someone possessing the requisite skills, imagination, vision, and daring to build, in the finest Hopkins tradition, something entirely different and new? We found that individual in Yash Gupta, who became the inaugural dean of the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School on January 1st of 2008. Since then, Yash has shown himself to be a leader of boundless energy and untiring enthusiasm. He's a man of high principle who brings intellectual rigor and unwavering commitment to finding new solutions to the fundamental business challenges of the 21st century. Born in India, educated in England, and having made his mark in America, Yash embodies the global outlook, the commitment to unwavering ethical practice, and the profound excitement in pioneering new business models that is a hallmark of the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. It is now my great pleasure to invite to this podium Yash Gupta. Yash?
Thank you, Provost Minor. The Carey Business School is a school built from a blank piece of paper. Thanks to the wonderful foresight and generosity of Bill Carey, from the start, we were able to sit down and ask the most profound question. What's the need? Where are the others either failing or fearing to go? How can we get there? And how can Johns Hopkins, in particular, contribute answers to these questions? These are questions that few are granted the luxury to ask. They point us to places few others have visited and approaches to teaching, research, and learning untried by other schools. Being brand new means we are not encumbered by the past. It means our only constraints are the limits of our own ingenuity, our passion, and our capacity to persevere. The responsibility this brings is humbling. We don't take it lightly, and we recognize that we are extraordinarily privileged to be able to take on this task from within the context of a great university, Johns Hopkins. As we have developed our program, we have done so mindful of Johns Hopkins' great legacy and contribution in the field of health, medicine, science, and technology. This is what has informed our vision. The Global MBA we introduced to you today is distinctly Johns Hopkins in its cast. It is global in its perspective, and it will provide a rigorous business education to its students with a focus that draws upon the extraordinary depth and breadth of Johns Hopkins medicine and the university's expertise in the life sciences, bioengineering, and public health. It is the product of a rapidly developing strong partnership between the Carey Business School and other divisions of the university. We are playing to our strengths. The undisputed mastery of Johns Hopkins University lies in sciences and health-based research and teaching enterprise. The Global MBA program is rooted deep in this rich soil and draws upon its special effectiveness from the incredible breadth and the depth of Johns Hopkins expertise in these areas. Ladies and gentlemen, to succeed in any endeavor requires focus. The BlackBerry became a phenomenal success for RIM because the company's top executives focused on just one thing: bringing email to our own pockets anywhere, anytime. The Global MBA we introduced to you today is the result of a similar intense focus, developing a curriculum that is firmly built on the strengths of Johns Hopkins and that is relevant for tomorrow's businesses. What about those businesses? The world is changing. And consider this. This year, more cell phones will be sold in India than in the United States. Imagine how that will accelerate and move India's economy. How many businesses and opportunities that will spawn? It is already happening. According to a recent report by Goldman Sachs, by 2032, the economies of Brazil, India, and other countries like Russia will far exceed those of G8 nations. That's what we're talking about. But there's another challenge that we face, and the challenge of nearly 1 billion people, 884 million to be precise, do not have access to clean water. 1 in 8. Just imagine this way. What does it do? The waterborne diseases represents enormous challenges for our society. But ladies and gentlemen, we are not getting younger. Indeed, we are getting older every day. See this way. The average age in Japan is 42. In 20 years, it'll be 51. The average age in Italy is 43. In a short period of time, it'll be 50. What does that do in terms of the growth and economic and financial strength of families? Nearly 2/3 of the growth will cease to exist, representing $31 trillion of loss of growth in income. Representing what? It changes dramatically our needs of our customers, changes dramatically the needs of our suppliers. That's the issue that we are facing. How do we deal with those things? Johns Hopkins Global MBA program addresses those fundamental issues that we face today. But we face those issues through one single prism, and the prism of the focus of the strengths of Johns Hopkins in medicine, in public health, and bioengineering and biotechnology. Yes, indeed, it is a focus, but it has come with an enormous amount of work and talent behind it. There's one individual who shepherded it, who designed it, who architected it. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to have you present to you an individual who has done so much for this. A colleague of mine, Dipankar Chakravarti, who is a professor of marketing and a world scholar in consumer behavior and consumer psychology. Dipankar Chakravarti joined us in January of 2008 and have never rested. And the chances of him resting is next to nothing. All lunches were served in his office because that was important for him to be able to work on this project. Without further ado, we have an individual who will share with us his theme, his passion with respect to the program itself. Dipankar.
Thank you, Yash. The Global MBA captures so much of the unique spirit of Johns Hopkins and demonstrates so clearly your commitment to educating the business leaders of tomorrow. It's truly an honor for me to participate in this process, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to help shape this exciting and groundbreaking program. But this is the work of many, and I must acknowledge my colleagues Phil, Fan, and Mac Dada, who have helped with much of what follows. And I must also thank my colleagues on the Carey Business School faculty and the staff for taking such enthusiastic ownership of this venture. Nothing, of course, would be possible without Bill Carey's immense generosity, and for the strong support of the university leadership, I'm most grateful to President Daniels and Provost Minor. Work from your strengths. It seems self-evident, but how often in business have we seen overeager managers and overconfident CEOs forget this basic maxim? Mergers and acquisitions built on paper assets, but not core capabilities. Products long on whims and fancies, but short on customer understanding. Financial instruments of dubious and diluted value, traded on unfounded expectations. It happens time and again. And yet, as we all know, business can have transformative impact when it takes a disciplined approach to innovation and entrepreneurship. When we set out to create the Johns Hopkins Global MBA, we played to our strengths. Johns Hopkins has an extraordinary global footprint, as you can see from this footage taken from Johns Hopkins locales around the world and beyond.
In more than 100 countries, on every continent, beneath the seas and across the solar system, in health and science, diplomacy and music, energy and the environment, education with purpose, service to humanity, discovery for tomorrow. Johns Hopkins, a global university.
And of all Johns Hopkins' many strengths, health and the life sciences hold undisputed sway. It's therefore no surprise that another distinctive aspect of our Global MBA is the extraordinary opportunity it provides the Carey Business School students and faculty to contribute to humanity by advancing the frontiers of business knowledge and practice in general, and of the business of health and life sciences in particular. So what are our students going to learn? Yes, all that. Let me break it down for you. At the very outset, we have a 3-week orientation intensive. This is not your plain vanilla remedial boot camp. Rather, it's designed to create a signature culture for the Johns Hopkins Global MBA. We have domain experts who will guide our students through activities that demonstrate the value of embracing diversity. Through activities that will help our students develop a common frame of reference that supports and strengthens their innate conceptual and analytical skills. And activities in which they experience early the synergistic benefits of collaboration and teamwork. It's not just a garden variety orientation exercise. It plants the seed of the Carey Business School mindset that will frame the academic experiences that follow. It is important to know your strengths, but there is one other essential maxim. When ignored, it inevitably leads businesses and business schools astray. Master the fundamentals. Before you set out to reinvent the wheel, make sure you know why it's round. So we begin with the fundamentals. Business Essentials, a set of 4 required courses that ensures every student has a strongly grounded and nuanced understanding of business school basics, the core disciplines, accounting, finance, marketing, organizational behavior, operations management, and the information sciences. These courses are as conceptually challenging and analytically rigorous as they come at any top-tier business school. However, at the Carey Business School, these courses are also cross-functionally integrated and emphasize application of innovative business concepts to real business problems. The course titles are purposefully designed to convey this. In the Financial Resources course, students learn the core concepts in financial accounting, corporate finance, and capital markets. The People and Markets course is themed on the creative development and management of relationships with employees and with customers. In the Business Processes course, our students learn how information technology is harnessed to support the gamut of business operations. And the Managerial Decision Behavior course conveys not only the fundamentals of microeconomic analysis and statistical decision theory, but also alerts our students as to how cognitive biases and emotions routinely influence the decisions of the most experienced of managers. And that is just the first semester academics. By now, our aspiring MBAs invoke terms like cost of capital, brand equity, value proposition, global supply chains in casual dinner time conversation. They speak of risky choices between tea and coffee at breakfast. And talk about the lunch sandwich as an argument in the midday consumption function. They also have now come to accept that weekends are non-recoverable sunk costs. But this is not just a one-semester drill. These academic fundamentals are strengthened further in the second semester through innovative courses and strategic options. These courses equip our students with even more advanced and analytically sophisticated models in the core disciplines and continue to build their skills for the integrated management of business functions. And in 2 other innovative courses, our students learn the professional value of competitive intelligence and negotiation skills. And those with spouses also discover that these skills are pretty important at home. Yes, all that in just the first year. Because tomorrow's innovative managers must have mastery of the fundamentals. Ladies and gentlemen, tools are obviously important, but at Hopkins we also set great store in promoting the art of thinking. In developing this new curriculum, we've listened closely to business leaders in industries from health, life sciences and pharmaceuticals, to IT, financial services, and manufacturing. Many of them are members of our Board of Overseers and corporate advisory boards. Consistently, they have said to us, send us MBAs who can think critically, who can communicate lucidly, and make sure they have a real understanding of the ethical challenges in business. Every business program teaches ethics and other overarching challenges that will confront the business leaders of tomorrow. However, these are typically accommodated in the remote corners of a traditional curriculum and are rarely blended into the core program. Consistent with Hopkins' tradition, we have chosen a different learning approach. The Thought and Discourse seminars, which are held on Friday afternoons throughout the two-year program. These seminars create opportunity for our students to learn from the experiences of legendary practitioners and policymakers and academic thought leaders. And the topics that are listed, corporate statesmanship, regulation and governance, risk and accountability, illustrate the priorities we anticipate today and will change as the business environment evolves. However, the learning methodology will endure as the seminar assignments ask students to think deeply about the lessons that are learned from these experts and to critique, synthesize, and communicate the takeaway in multiple modalities: written analysis, verbal presentations, and role-playing exercises. The purpose? To stimulate creative thinking, to develop persuasive communication skills, and to build a leader's facility for creative expression. But to share the real secret, each Friday afternoon seminar is only an elaborate ruse to create justification for the happy hour that follows. And then there are the facets of the Global MBA that are distinctively Johns Hopkins, truly unique and built on our strengths. The first of these is the Innovation for Humanity project, which takes place in the January intersession of the first year. As part of the curriculum and included in the program cost, students travel overseas in groups of 5 or 6 to participate in a learning experience that builds on Johns Hopkins University's unique presence and footprint in global health. The students witness firsthand the challenges of building sustainable businesses in markets with weak infrastructures, fragmented mechanisms, and political uncertainty. They learn how businesses must work in and around messy social systems, understand the meaning and value of appropriate technologies, and see how social entrepreneurs impact humanity through sustainable community development. Here are some exemplars of what our students will see as part of this project assignment.
The Bloomberg School of Public Health works with 67,000 Bangladeshi women studying the benefits of vitamin A for pregnant women and children. In Africa, Johns Hopkins researchers in Cape Town and Johannesburg, in communities in Uganda and remote villages in Zambia, deliver treatment for HIV, combat TB, and prevent malaria.
The experience of actually being there cannot be replicated by reading a book on development economics or by participating in an aseptic classroom case analysis, or even by viewing the wonderful video that just showed you one instance of the extraordinary work that's being done by our colleagues in the School of Public Health. The project assignment provides an appreciation of the profound similarities and differences in how things work around the globe. These are insights that last a lifetime and are of enduring value whether one is building healthcare businesses in remote markets or leading a sophisticated healthcare facility in the US or in Western Europe. We believe that it is truly important for our students to appreciate that on an unlit village path, innovation is a cell phone with a hand-cranked flashlight capability. The best kind of education is the sort in which you gain knowledge and then apply that knowledge in a meaningful way. Johns Hopkins University has known this since its founding. Every school at Hopkins is built upon this premise. The Carey Business School is no different. It is the simple yet powerful insight that supports the Discovery to Market project, which begins in the second semester of the first year and continues through into the second year. In every realm, in health and life sciences, energy and environment, manufacturing and education, technology is reshaping the contours of business activity. We believe that the most innovative and effective of future business leaders will be those who can translate science and discovery for meaningful practical impact. And there is no university in the world that offers students greater opportunity to delve into the scientific mind than Johns Hopkins can. Take a look at this brief overview of Johns Hopkins' scientific prowess. The Discovery to Market project leverages the vast pool of discoveries in the health sciences and related fields at Johns Hopkins. The two-phased initiative focuses on the processes that translate a scientific discovery into a product or technology with commercial potential. We start with workshops that expose our students to the people and the organizational processes behind these discoveries. The focus is on issues such as intellectual property law, disclosure rules, patenting and licensing processes, and also formal approaches to assessing feasibility and commercial potential. In a later phase, students work to adapt their chosen product or service to the marketplace. They learn how to develop a business plan and gain valuable implementation experience. By the time the project is completed, our students have experienced firsthand the trials, the pitfalls, and the potential rewards associated with transforming scientific discoveries into commercial realities. You might ask, can the insight that reframes a poor quality adhesive out of a failed experiment into a post-it note can really be learned as a technique or as a process? We will explore that possibility with the Discovery to Market project. In the second year, our students choose a professional specialization, a 6-course deep dive that creates exceptional expertise. These may be in a traditional functional area of business, marketing or finance and the like, or it may be in exploring business opportunities in a particular industry sector. Not surprisingly, at Hopkins, these themes will focus initially on health and life science related industries. But do note that this is not just about managing hospitals or leading large insurance companies. Health is the portal into so many realms of human activity, and our specialization courses create that needed expertise. For example, our aspiring human resource experts learn the intricacies of leading healthcare professionals. Our wannabe marketers learn how persuasion theories can be put to good use to influence health behaviors. Our operations management specialists will master how global supply chains work to support the pharmaceutical industry. Our information scientists will have deep appreciation of the role of healthcare informatics in care delivery and the information asymmetries that are associated with patient ownership of health records. This is true expertise, not just deep knowledge of business concepts, but also of application in a specific business context, the business of health, for which there is no better place to learn than the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. All of this effort culminates at the end of the second year in the immersion colloquia, a sequence of 2 courses which can be best described as the mother of all capstone projects. Here, our students can choose among 3 approaches. They can take their discovery to market project to the next level, or stage of commercialization, or undertake a team-based consulting project, for instance, on a biomedical engineering device, or even strengthen their professional specialization by participating in a research project under the supervision of a faculty team. For instance, a student with a penchant for medical entrepreneurship could assemble an interdisciplinary team of faculty experts to study market dynamics and financing strategies for developing medical technologies. What better way to reprise all that was learned in the previous 3 semesters? Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The academic program that will create the Johns Hopkins Global MBA graduate, an ethical and informed business professional, innovative and versatile, culturally literate, science-savvy, and unmatched in entrepreneurial spirit. In the very best tradition of Johns Hopkins, this is a program designed from the ground up to create the business leaders of tomorrow. A business school professor given an audience and a podium is programmed to go for 1 hour and 15 minutes. I believe I have a few minutes before I fully exercise that license. Believe me, though, I'm almost done. I couldn't stop without talking about graduation and the future. From the day our students arrive at the Carey Business School, we help them focus on their future. The professional development process runs concurrently with the academic programs for the full 4 semesters of study. It starts with a leadership assessment exercise that allows students to understand their own strengths and areas of challenge. And based on this, each student works with our experienced career services professionals on personalized development strategies. In the first year, students receive formal guidance on resume creation, professional positioning strategies, and interviewing techniques that are designed to help them find meaningful summer internships and to stage their future careers. In the second year, as their skills and expertise grow, our students are supported in refining their professional goals, seeking productive employment, and having found it, preparing for transition from school to the workplace. As in the real world, there are no guarantees here. But it is difficult to imagine a more proactive and supportive program to help our students help themselves. To summarize, the Johns Hopkins Global MBA will educate students to think critically, act ethically, and comprehend issues in a global context. It represents an unparalleled career opportunity for those who understand the importance of being innovative, taking calculated risks, and who value the capacity to be bold and who strive to do the right thing. Thank you for giving me your time and attention. I hope you agree that we have laid out a truly unique and exciting new approach to business education, the Johns Hopkins Global MBA. It's now my pleasure to ask Yash Gupta to please return to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, since the day Johns Hopkins first opened its doors in 1876, it has encouraged faculty and students to think imaginatively and act globally. Our MBA students will reflect this characteristic and distinctive strengths of Johns Hopkins medicine and scientific discovery. As we have developed this program, we have done so mindful of Johns Hopkins' great legacy and contribution in the fields of health, medicine, science, and technology. This is what has informed our vision. The MBA we introduced to you tonight is distinctively Johns Hopkins in its cast. It is global in its perspective. It will provide a rigorous business education to its students, and its curriculum will specifically leverage the extraordinary depth and breadth of Johns Hopkins medicine and the university's expertise in the life sciences, biomedical engineering, and public health. This evening, we have put out the call. We seek a distinctive group of business pioneers, individuals of vision and daring who will draw the contours of new international business community. Individuals whose achievements will color and define entire industries around the globe, who will help bring the traditions of Johns Hopkins medicine and science to bear in the business environment. This charter class is for innovators and discoverers. It is for those who dream of new opportunities found in new places. It is for those who want to do well, to do good. And we have room for only 80. Just 80, no more. Perhaps you are one of them. Or perhaps you know someone who should be among our inaugural class. Tonight, we call on all of you and your friends seated here, and those who are watching these proceedings through the internet in locations around the world. Now is the time. Help us make the history. Help us to change the world. If you dream, if you dare, if you desire a better world and have the passion to make it happen, join us. It's going to be an incredible journey. The Johns Hopkins Global MBA is your doorway to the world. Come help us invent the future. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for helping us launch the Johns Hopkins Global MBA. Now, please join Provost Lloyd Minor and Dean Yash Gupta at a special reception downstairs. Thank you for coming and enjoy your evening.